Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think you may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hollywood, Florida, with your host and hostess, Mark Angelo and Jessica Lynn Cummings. Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Transition Radio. We'd like to thank you for joining us this Friday evening, and we are live from Wilton Manors, definitely. We want to remind everyone the show is live for 30 minutes, but after the 30 minutes mark, it goes in recording mode, and you'll be able to listen to the entire show on demand. If it runs over. If it runs over. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Yes. Well, today we have Kelly Morrissy from iZapThem.com, an electrologist. But before we bring her on,
we want to thank our sponsor, thebreastfilmstore.com. They have everything you need for your cross-dressing and transgender needs. Visit their website and tell them Transition Radio.
Kelly has been sapping hair since 1986. She began working with the gender community in 1990. Electrolysis by Kelly Incorporated began when she started working out of her house. At the time, almost all her clients were transgender. However, when she moved her business to Oak Park Mall, slowly she got more clients, both transgender and the general public. Over the last 27 years, she's learned a lot from either other electrologists, experience attending seminars, and doing continuing education, and a lot from just listening to her clients.
No two clients are the same, and to treat everyone in the same way doesn't produce the best possible results. She says she strives to help each client the best way they need. There hasn't been new research for probes for electrolysis since 1970, she says. I thought that a small change to exposed tippling would make a big difference to comfort when removing shallow hairs. It sounded good to the people at Laurier Instruments who hand make these probes. So they made up a batch of probes that incorporated Kelly's ideas and gave them to the electrologist community to try out.
The feedback was overwhelmingly wildly positive, and Kelly Tip entered production in 2013. www.laurierinstruments.com. For the last 20 years, she's been a familiar face at Beat All, and this September will be her third year in a row at Southern Comfort. The reason she goes to educate people and to do electrolysis, post-treatment care, and guide them to a good colleague so that they may be helped.
Kelly's a member of the American Electrology Association and treasurer of the Electrology Association of Illinois. In 1992, she became a member of the Chicago Gender Society, also a member of Chi Chapter, and a lifetime member of Triads. Among her recognitions are the CS Vendor of the Year and Outstanding Service Award. Also, the Chief Chapter Trias Humanitarian Award. Now let's welcome to our show, Kelly Morrissy.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Doing fantastic, but the cat had my tongue.
Yeah,
That's okay. It happens
twisting.
all the time.
A lot of tongue twisting information to read, but we want to.
And we don't even have a cat.
No, we have a dog. Go figure. But it's information that I think is superb, what you're doing, and I think the transgender community needs to really hear about what you do and these great inventions that you've created. So I'm so glad that you said yes when we invited you to the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and some of it's misinformation. Some of it can be very confusing because there's just no one way to skin a cat. There's no one right way to really to permanently remove the hair. We've got a lot of options. There's a lot of techniques out there, and I just kind of want to help get some of the information out there to make it a little bit less confusing. One really, really, really great resource out there is a website called hairfacts.com, HAIRFACTS, which was actually created by a trans woman named Andrea James. And from that was born hairtell.com, HAIRTELL. And that is, you have people that are trying to find out about hair removal, practitioners that both do laser and electrolysis of all different types, and those are both really good places to get good information without the salesmanship and the BS. So those are two good sources of information for people out there.
Awesome. Well, let's start the basics here. Explain to our listeners how electrolysis works.
Okay, basically, you're paying me to burn the hair out of your face, if you want to go down to layman's terms. And I have two types of energy that I can use. That's AC and that's DC. DC current, which is called galvanic, which is called direct current, which is called electrolysis, which is what our field is called, was originally invented in the late 1800s. How that works is we insert a probe, which slides down the hair follicle. The electricity, the DC current, comes out of the tip of that probe and mixes with the saline that's in the follicle. There is a chemical reaction that happens between the saline, which is the salt, and the electricity. It creates a lye. It's that lye that kills the cells. Therefore, technically, it's a chemical burn. The early 1900s, they figured out, we can use the AC side of the electricity to do this, which is called alternating current, which is called thermolysis, which is also called radio frequency. How that works is the current flows down the same probe into the hair follicle, but this time as the current mixes with the saline in your body, it reacts with the water, and it gets them all excited and running around. So therefore it creates a heat, kind of like how your microwave works. And it's that heat that kills the cells. Either way, we're burning the hair out. You're either using a chemical burn or you're using a thermal burn to do it. Shortly after that, they also came up with a modality called the blend, which is kind of uses both. You get a long pulse of galvanic, you throw a couple pulses of thermolysis in. There are two lines of thought in this. Some people say that the thermolysis helps to warm up the follicle, which helps the lye production happen faster. And some say that the thermolysis actually does part of the job. I think it's really a little bit of both. However, originally what was invented was galvanic. People who still do galvanic, and there are still people that do, use what they call a multi-needle machine. And they insert one probe, then another, because for a thick beard hair, it could take 2 to 5 or 7 minutes, depending on the setting, to do one hair. With thermolysis, depending on how I get it set, I can do, depending on the technique I use, I can do anywhere from 350 to 1,400 hairs in an hour, depending on the technique that I use. Now, generally, what I can get done in about 20 or 30 minutes with thermolysis might take me an hour to do with the blend. One question I get a lot from people, which is the best technique to use? And my answer is the one your electrologist is good at. I've seen great work by all. I've seen bad work by all. And people's biochemistry reacts better to one or the other. Some people it's the same. Some people get better results from one or the other. But generally speaking, I find most people get really good results with thermolysis. And thermolysis is generally what I like to do. And so that's kind of like the basic math on what's available for the permanent hair removal.
Well, what can a client expect from this procedure, and how many sessions does it usually take to accomplish their goals?
Well, that's what makes it tricky because, for example, if I was doing thermolysis on somebody and let's say their skin and the moisture in their follicle can handle a really high heat and I can, in one pulse, I can get that hair to slide out, and let's say I can get them in 12 or 1,400 hairs in an hour. I might be able to get them done in 80 to 125 hours, and I'm talking about a trans woman that's on hormones, okay? Now, let's say I need to do 2 pulses to back it off just because they're sensitive or they can't take the moisture. You know, it's going to take me a little bit longer. It may take me 900 pulses in an hour to be able to get out those hairs. You know, I may only be able to get 900 in that hour. So that can vary. And then my pace might be different than Susie, electrologist in Wyoming. She might be a little slower. She might be a little faster. So to say, each person is going to have exactly this many treatments. That's hard to say. It depends on which mode I use, which technique I use within that mode, and what that person's skin and pain tolerance can tolerate at that time. So it can be a little bit different. Like, what I can get done in thermolysis, I can get done in half the time that it takes to blend, but let's just say their pain tolerance can only handle the blend. Well, they may take me 200 hours with blend, but only 100 with thermolysis. These are things you got to think about.
Right.
When
not only when it comes to pains.
And speaking about pain, you did invent this Kelly Tips, which actually appears to alleviate some of the discomfort. Tell us a little bit more about this technique that you developed and how less painful does this make it for the client?
Well, the Kelly Tips really are specifically designed for vellus hairs. So this is something that's more for, let's say, a trans woman that has very, very light hair or pretty much almost done with their treatments. They have very, very fine hair. Or like your typical Italian woman that maybe has a little bit darker hair, but it's still very fine. So those tips are really, really made for that type of hair. But, however, the company that makes those probes, they're the only true probes that the installation is really protected against radio frequency. There are other needle and probe holders that have installation on there, but they do get some leakage. And from all the different type of needles that I have used, the Laurier probes really are the best at protecting the top layer of skin. And when you've got somebody laying on your table that is removing a full beard, you need to have that in consideration on protecting that top layer because you're doing lots of work on that skin. That skin's going to take a lot of abuse. So it helps out in the long run for that. And with the Kelly Tips, basically I started using those probes. And I told the maker, I was like, I feel like I have to over-insert the probe in order to protect the top layer, to get the insulation to the top layer, because on the top layer, that's where you have the pain sensors. So you're protecting that, and you're protecting the top layer of the skin from the heat to creep up to the top layer, so you have less blanching and irritation. And I said, I'd like to have you have it really short. And he told me, well, the smaller surface area, the hotter the probe. I'm like, yeah, you just turn it down. He says, well, you might be onto something. So we started working on the prototypes, and when we started handing it out there for people with shallow hair and my colleagues, they were just like, this is a magic wand. Because you would think that coarse hair is really the harder hair to work on, but for many, it's really delicate work doing that fine hair, and it's really easy to miss the follicle. And if you don't have that probe in the right spot, you can step on that pedal all day long, and you're not going to get a proper release. And you need to get the current in the follicle right where you need it so you can do the minimal amount of damage in the right spot to get that hair to release.
Wow.
So that's how the Kelly Tips is born.
Let me ask you, does electrolysis work for everyone? And if not, why?
Pretty much works for everyone. We're not restricted like with laser. Laser pretty much now, I don't do laser, so this is coming out of somebody's mouth that doesn't do laser. I have plenty of colleagues that do both, and there are a lot of people out there that do laser. But how my understanding that laser works is it's keyed into the pigment, and it works best with people with dark hair and light skin. And the further you get away from that, the less likely it's going to work. And just to give you an idea, it's like, you've ever been outside in this hot summer sun and you're wearing a black T-shirt and you're melting, and then you put on a white T-shirt and you're fine? That's pretty much how the laser works. And with the probes, it doesn't matter if it's white, if it's red, if it's blonde, if it's dark. All I have to do is get that current in the follicle, and I can do it. Electrolysis isn't prodigious. It'll kill any hair. Where it can be more difficult are people who have hormonal issues. And quite frankly, you can't get any more of a hormonal issue than a woman that was unfortunately born with testicles. That's the hardest thing to beat. So when you put a woman in front of me that was born with testicles, they're going to be a harder case than a woman that was not. And somewhere in between, you'll have a woman that might have polycystic ovarian syndrome. So they're each going to take different amount of treatments depending on what's going on hormonally in their body. So, and that's go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, that's things to think about when you're transitioning and why you're transitioning. Because one of the phone calls I'll get is from somebody who's like, okay, I want to remove all the hair that I have. I want you to do my face, my back, my body, everything. I want you to do it all. And my first thing is, okay, where are you going in life? Because if you're somebody that just wants to do hormones in order to do the facial hair removal or the body hair removal, as soon as you go off the hormones, anything the hormones have been put into the dormant state is going to wake up again. So it's the wrong reason to do hormones. You do hormones to feminize your body. Okay? That same phone call could be, okay, I'm just starting transition. I'm starting on my hormones. I want you to do my face, my back, my body, and everything. Slow down. Let the hormones do the work. Put your time and money on your face, and then you need to decide whether or not if genital reconstruction is something you want to do, basically the vaginoplasty, because after your face, the next place you want to start working is the surgical area, so that way, depending on which surgeon you go to and what techniques that they're using, you might need to get genital hair removal in order so you don't get hair in your new vagina. So those are the two places you really got to think about that.
Let me stop you right here because you're kind of getting into the question I'm going to ask next. So I want you to go ahead. What do you think needs to be considered when planning electrolysis and transition? Many don't think ahead about transition, lifestyle, healing, surgeries, facial feminization, breast augmentation, the SRS. Can you elaborate on this? I mean, we're kind of touching it, but I didn't want to, miss anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are things to think about. For one thing is the hormone therapy. What I was getting into with the body hair. Over time, a lot of that hair is going to go dormant and fall out on the body. I've seen people that had quite hairy backs and quite hairy time. Now, mind you, this is a process that may take 2 to 5 years to get to that point. But I've seen a lot of body hair just fall out if you just let nature take its course. However, the facial hair, once it goes terminal, the only option you got is the hair removal, the electrolysis. Some people may get some really good results with laser, and I've seen some pretty decent results with the right combinations for laser. But once the hair goes terminal on the face, you got to have it removed one way or another. But I've seen a lot of body hair fall out. And generally what I tell people is if you're planning on getting genital reconstruction, whether it's an orchiectomy or whether it's vaginoplasty, if you're planning on having the testicles removed one way or another, if you can wait for body hair until 6 months post-surgery, it's going to take a lot less time for me to do my job, and you're going to spend a lot less time because we're no longer fighting the androgens that are created by the testicles. And I've had some people say, I've been on hormones for a really, really long time. I'm really pickled. I've got really low doses. I've seen it consistently. I don't care how pickled you are on hormones. Once the testicles go, there is still additional feminization that happens. And the first place I see it is in hair growth. Yeah, so that's stuff to think of because people are like, okay, I'm going to spend all this money and get everything done. Slow down. Let nature take its course.
Absolutely, and I can attest to that because 2.5 years on hormones, the body hair did get a lot thinner, was less coarse over the 2.5 years on hormones, and I just recently had my orchiectomy where I did have my testicles removed 4 weeks ago, and I already see a difference between the 2.5 years on hormones and the 1 month of post-op orchiectomy, that the feminization has occurred more, and I noticed that the facial hair is not growing back as fast, A, and B, the body hair is actually taking a lot longer to come back, and it's coming back even thinner, as you were saying.
Oh, yeah, and that's why I tell people, wait 6 months, and honestly, I've told people that have really blonde or white hair that have not a lot of money for budget, if you don't mind shaving and this is part of what you're going to do, and you don't have to worry about passability because you don't have that blue behind your face that's hiding underneath the makeup, wait till post-surgery. You're going to spend so much less money on electrolysis. You really are, because we're no longer fighting the androgens. The testicles are gone. We're only dealing with whatever your pituitary gland is making, which is what normal women are, with cis women are creating. So that's something to think about in your transition. The other thing that when it comes to surgeries, a lot of people don't think about is facial feminization. And if you're somebody that is thinking about getting a major rehaul on your face, like major bone work, we're talking about grafting, having bits, taken out, redone, put back in, and we're talking major facial reconstruction, where you're going to have like screws and wires put back into place. Healing bone work takes at least a full year to heal. And if you're just starting electrolysis and then you decide, okay, I'm going to go get this facial reconstruction, and now let's say, one surgeon, Dr. Osterhout, who's classic for this, he wants 3 months without any electrolysis because he's worried about, infection, just in case, and he's being protective. So he wants you to wait 3 months. But me even applying pressure on a chin that the bone has been taken out, recut, and screwed back in, just applying pressure is painful. So you don't want to spend 3 hours on your chin after you had facial reconstruction on that area. You really don't. Or even if it's burring. So if you're planning on getting a lot of facial reconstruction, either do it after you've had a lot of electrolysis and you're down to the point where you're only doing like 15 minutes once a month or a couple times a month or once every 3 months, or you're done with electrolysis, or do that first, wait a year, because you're going to be really hypersensitive. It's just how it is, and a lot of people don't think about that. And
then exactly. Let me ask you. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead and ask the question.
How did you initially get involved with the trans community?
Well, that's an interesting question. The last lady that I worked for, she had a rather good practice, and she had several people who were transgender, ranging from cross-dressers to queens to female impersonators to beginning all through post-op trans women. She had like about 10 of them. And she moved operations into a cosmetic studio. And she decided the people that she felt that wasn't passable, and now mind you, this was 1989. All right, so this is a different time and place in the world. This is 1989. And she felt anybody that she thought that, there's going to be women in this makeup place, and she didn't want anybody scaring off, that clientele. So anybody she felt that wasn't 100% passable, she was like, don't book them in, but if you want to work on them, you stay late after the place has been closed and work on them. And I thought it was kind of shitty, so I would stay late. And one of them, and God rest her soul, Miss Gina Gonzalez, says to me, Miss Kelly, if I buy you a machine, will you do me out of your house? And I was like, okay. So I told her what I needed. She got me the beginning stuff, and then the 5 people she didn't want coming to that place, I just did them at home. And I charged them less money. I was making more money. And they told 2 friends and so on and so on and so on. And poof, here I am 27 years later. So, that's how it happened.
Let me ask you, Kelly, and it's, I know that, we wanted to touch base regarding your business and the wonderful work you do. When you reached out to me and I got back with you, I for once thought that you were transgender, and through my mind you said you were or female, and I was you were, yeah. And then I saw the picture with the mustache and the thing, and I'm like, I am totally confused now. So, to lighten up a little bit of the topic here, explain to me this. I don't even know what words to use, but what? Because you said you have a different way of looking at things.
Well, I've been really blessed to be raised by my dad. My dad and I was really fortunate the fact my dad always let me be me. All right, and just to give you a quick synopsis of maybe a base of my personality, my parents got divorced really young, and my dad basically raised me. And my mother, I saw femininity as a sign of weakness, and I wanted to be nothing like her. Okay, and she always tried to put me in these cute little frilly dresses, and as soon as she turned around, I'd be butt naked running around the house. Okay. As my dad was able to raise me on his own, he always let me be me. Like one Christmas I remember definitely is that I got Barbie and a fire truck in the same day. And Barbie was sitting on my little metal fire truck with the siren going on and saving all my little stuffed toy friends on the chair that was, on fire. So I got to save all my friends with Barbie and a fire truck. But my dad always let me be me. And I didn't realize till I was older how lucky I was with that, especially, with the work that I do, because people try to make you what they want to instead of letting you be who you are. And that's across the board, no matter if you, have gender issues or not. I see that consistently. So I feel lucky in that aspect. Now, getting to one of the questions you asked me on the first set of questions was, if I was twin-spirited, I would consider Kelly to be a free spirit. And that's, people try to figure me out. It's like, don't figure me out. Just roll with it. My husband tells me, you're kind of like water. If you try to fight it, you're going to drown. Just roll with it and enjoy the ride. And that's basically the life of Kelly. And, the picture that I sent you with me in what I call Mandrag is a character that I put together. About 3 or 4 years ago, somebody gave me a CD of this man called Richard Cheese who takes modern songs and loungifies them, and I thought it was hilarious. And I was telling my clients, if I ever went blind or got shaky, I could always make a drag king career out of doing this guy's music. It's hilarious. Well, 3 months after that, it was Pride Month, and one of my clients says, hey, we're short an act. Would you consider doing that act for us, to help raise money? And I went, okay. So I went to Men's Warehouse, got a suit, and I kind of knew what to do because I just kind of reversed what everybody else was trying to do. And I do worked with quite a lot of girls from the Baton, so I called them up. I was like, where do I get a good mustache? And they told me where to go because they know where to do makeup, hair, and wigs and stuff like that, or theatrical stuff, and the girls of the Baton know where to go. So I went and picked up my, $7 fake mustache and put myself together. And so every time they need, the different groups around here, need a thing for an act, I'll just do it for fundraisers and I don't charge them. So it's my way of putting back and helping out, and I get to have fun too. So that's how, and my character's name is Richard Less, but you can call me Dick. So Dick Less is Florence.
Definitely amazing, and I think that you have been placed here on this world for a reason.
Wait a minute. Did you say Richard Less?
But you can call me Dick.
Dick Less.
Yes. Yeah, one of the jokes that I use is I tell everybody I'm hung like the eraser on a number 2 pencil.
Oh my God! I mean, and I sap him. It's very gross.
I'm freaking tears over here.
So yeah, I mean, and it's quite funny because when I go to these conventions, I tell people about this character, and people who don't know me, they're like, "Yeah, I'd know you anywhere," and then I learn a little bit about them. So when I put that, like, I'll usually do it like the last day or a day and not doing a seminar, like either Friday or Saturday. So I've got a couple days to build it up. And then, here comes Dick Less, and then I'll go up to him and I just start messing with him. And then then I'll make the comments or say the things that we had talked about. And when the light bulb goes on in their eyes, that little, that people get, that their eyes bug out of their head, that just brings me so much joy. It just cracks me up. I love it. And they're like, oh, my God, I can't believe it. I'm like, yeah, I know. So So I always have fun doing that. I get a big kick out of that.
We have 10 seconds live, and we're going to go off air. But remember, folks, you can listen to the show in its entirety right at Blog Talk Radio or on our website. So, and we'll be posting it throughout Facebook. Anyway, continue, Kelly. So, what's next for Kelly?
What's next for Kelly? Just continuing to try to build the education between me and my colleagues, and I'm going to try to work on doing like some kind of like side school to where colleagues can come and we can learn with each other. A lot of people ask me to opening up my own school, so that may take me 2 or 3 years to get there, but that's kind of what's going on down the road. But I'm having a lot of fun with Facebook because with my colleagues that I hook up with Facebook on the American Electrology Facebook page, which if you're an electrologist, they will let you join. However, you must be an electrologist to join on the American Electrology Facebook page. You don't have to be a member, but you must be an electrologist. And we are talking about how we do things. People are asking questions. Kelly, how do you do general work? Or how do you do your Kelly tips? Or I'm working on this type of work. How would you do that? What do you think about this type of equipment? There's so much sharing going on that page. It's just awesome. So I'm having a lot of fun contributing in that and just, networking and sharing the knowledge between colleagues. I'm really working towards trying to build that bridge among us colleagues is where I see myself going in the future.
An amazing interview. 30 minutes go very quickly.
Yes, it does.
But
oh, my God, yeah.
Sure you just a huge encyclopedia of information, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have really, really enjoyed it. Do you have any videos, Kelly, of you performing and doing?
I don't. Somebody had one on a phone once, and I don't know where that data went, but it was not the best quality. But when I do, because now I've got an iPad, so the next time I do a show or something, I'll probably put it on my website or send it out there or send it to you guys so you guys can get a good giggle out of it. But I'm not the best professional out there, but I'm going to crack you up. I don't consider me I'm a great act to kind of look and get a giggle out. But do I consider myself to be a professional impersonator? No. I just do it for fun and to help out. But I'm a professional electrologist. But it's fun to do, and it gets. If I can help out, I can help out doing it.
The reason I ask is because we have a TV show as well, Transmission Radio TV. But one of the things that we require to be on the TV show is that a person has at least three videos around 3 to 4 minutes long, so that we actually put it in between the questioning and just helps with the flow of the show. And I think all this information that you have would be great on the TV show, and if you had some videos.
Well, I guess that could be part of what's next for Kelly is coming up with 3 videos next time I do some shows, so we can make that happen.
There you go.
So I mean, I've got another goal. Yay!
Kelly and are all 3 good, Nicholas.
Yes. Oh my God, and it's funny. It's funny because from doing the work that I do, and I listen to people's lives and what they're going through with transition, and you hear like the classic things, like the first time you stepped out of your house, in the other gender that you've been normally presenting, and you go out there. So as Richard Less, I got to experience them, and I got a chance to laugh at myself. And one of the classic ones is I was at Be All 3 years ago. So this is the first time that I was screwing with people with my identity. And one of the people decided that they were going to take me and some other people. We were going to go to an Italian restaurant off-site from the hotel. So this is the first time Richard Less is stepping outside of a safe space, being, either a convention or a gay bar or, some function that is, community-related. And I get out of the car, and I'm walking to this Italian restaurant, and I start laughing my ass off. And they turn around and they go, "What's so funny?" And I look at them and said, "I have to pee."
Oh, my.
And I'm thinking...
That is your question. Which bathroom do I use?
And I'm dying laughing. I'm thinking, there's half of me having that classic panic that so many have gone through in that first situation. And then there's the part of me that knows that this is going to pan out well and how to handle it. Because, number one, I got the easy end of the stick. I'm going to the men's bathroom. We're not even supposed to look at each other. Okay?
That's right.
So, and then I'm thinking, and of course this was the first time that I was doing, Dick Less at the BL convention. And I had just gotten a really killer manicure, and there was no way I was going to take the paint off my nails. So here I am in man drag with pink nail polish, right?
Oh, wow.
And then people were teasing me like all day. It's like, oh, yeah, man with nail polish. I go, this is a gender convention, isn't it? I'm expressing my freedom of gender. So now I'm at an Italian restaurant with pink nail polish, and I've got to pee.
And the more you laugh, the more you got to pee.
The more I got to pee. So I'm like, what am I worried about? So I go in the bathroom, and, of course, I'm sitting in the stall because, with the penis like a number 2 eraser, I'm not going to stand at a urinal. And so I'm sitting in the stall and going to the bathroom, and I hear somebody come in, and they're like washing their hands. I'm like, oh, shit, And then it's like, well, I'm not going to dawdle. I mean, this is the men's washroom. They're not even supposed to look at me, so I just zip myself up, put myself, together, come out. I wash my hands, and it was like an 18-year-old kid, and he didn't even look at me, faced with me, and I was just like washing my hands, doing my thing, and just waltzed right out of there. And I was just like, whew, so
I had those moments.
It was interesting going through all those emotions, for real. Hearing it is one thing, but actually going through it is quite another, so.
Well, once again, we want to thank you. It's been enormous fun. And
I just want to say one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I like that idea. I think I might go use the men's room and stand at a urinal in a miniskirt.
I think they will look. I think either you'll get beat up or
I definitely will get a letter. Or two.
I'll tell you what. I'll come there together. I'll wear my mad drag and wear my pink nail polish. How do you like that? And I'll go sit in the stall.
There you go. We got to do it.
We can have a whiz contest and see who gets done first.
All right. Well, many thanks, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Kelly. You've been
You
a
are
riot.
so welcome. Anytime.
Take care.
You have a great evening.
Well, thank you,
you
everyone,
too.
for joining us once again for another Friday night show. This Sunday, we have a pre-recorded show on our TV show with Jazz, yes, Jazz, and her beautiful, wonderful, understanding mother, Jeanette. So you don't want to miss that show, and you can catch that at our website, transitionradio.net. And we'll be posting it all throughout Facebook. It's a pre-recorded show on Mother's Day, so that's going to be a treat for you guys. All right? We want to thank you, and we'll be back again live the following Friday. And the following Friday, who do we have? I always have to add my calendar so that I know who I have, because I have so many guests that I can't remember them all. It's amazing how many guests we have had. We have Emmett next Friday. And then we have Emma, which is an amazing transgender female from France on the following Sunday, which is Sunday the 19th. So stay tuned for all those great shows.
You can also find the schedule on our upcoming shows on our website.
Yes, our website has the shows for upcoming schedule show all the way till June. So thank you guys once again. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. We love you, but remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Kelly. Good night.